Okay, so now we want to look at the examples of spinal reflex. Examples of spinal reflex action. Okay, so these ones, they pass through the what? The spinal cord, which is the central nervous system. So example, we're going to talk about this one, withdrawing the hand out together, jumping up after sitting on a pin. Okay, that is a spinal reflex action. Then we also talk of knee jerk. Then for the cranial, we can talk of sneezing, blinking. They like this essays: sneezing, blinking, coughing. Okay, coughing. Okay, all those are examples of what? Of cranial reflexes. They pass through the brain. Okay, then aside that, we have the third reflex action, which is called the conditioned reflex action. Conditioned reflex action. Okay, so when talk about conditioned reflex action, it is the reflex action which is so when talk about conditioned reflex action, it is a response that results from learning or training. That is what we call the conditioned reflex. Okay, the response is given during a conditioned reflex, is not related to the stimulus, but animal associates it with a related stimulus. So after being trained to do so. So under reflex action, example that you can talk about is Pavlov's experiment. Talk of Pavlov experiment. So okay, so this is the Pavlov's experiment. This is what we call the Pavlov's experiment. So the Pavlov's experiment, what we are talking about is we're saying Pavlov's experiment. His name is Ivan Pavlov's. Ivan Pavlov is a psychologist, okay, that did this experiment where the first day what he did was he presented the food to the dog and the dog salivated. Then the second day he rang the bell and the dog did not salivate. Then the third day he brought the food and rang the bell at the same time. The dog salivated. But the fourth day, we find that when he rang the bell, the dog salivated without the food. So the dog has been conditioned to say the moment you hear the bell, the food is what? Is coming. That is an example of a conditioned reflex action. So this one comes in an example to explain the Pavlov experiment on conditioned reflex. This is what we talk about.